Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast, Shannon.
Hey, what up, Ash? So good to be here, bro.
Good to have you.
Good to be here, man.
To introduce you to the audience, who do you say you are?
Ah, the question is, who do you say I am? Oh man, I'm just a man that's just trying to get this life right, and I get it jacked up. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a speaker. I'm a coach. I'm just a lover of people. I have a funny way of showing it, but I just really do love people and love the human spirit and believe deeply in the human spirit. And just here to share that kind of positive message as many places as I possibly can.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's funny, just knowing how I met you, because I think meeting you through the prayer line and also meeting you in person at one of the men's retreat is is great to put a voice to a face and be like, okay, that's where it comes from. And initially when I met you, I was like, he has a funny way of showing it. Like when you speak with that strong tone, it's like, man, this guy must not like me. But then you see the man in person, and it's like, this is a good man and really love from the heart. And sometimes they say it's not. Sometimes you've got to hear the message not in the tone in which you're interpreting it, but with what the words actually mean and the intention behind it.
I like that. It is, I get that a lot, Ash. I got it today. And it's like, it's almost like having a text conversation. There's no context.
Right.
So let's say I remember the first time, I don't even know what platform it was like a chat room or something, like an AOL chat room. And I was typing in all caps, but I had just by mistake just hit
the
caps lock or something. And then somebody was like, "Why are you yelling at me?" And I'm like, "Hey, everybody calm down. I'm not yelling. I'm just talking."
Right.
And I didn't know that all caps meant, emphasis or raising of a voice or a tone. And so I thought that was funny, but it speaks to the need for human interaction. And being able to utilize all the senses to experience that. So sometimes it's not just good to just see somebody like in this platform, like from on technology.
Right.
It's good to be able to sit down and touch someone or hug them or shake their hand, be face to face, look at the intention, look at the body language, hear the voice inflection, and to get the complete picture. But we oftentimes make a judgment that takes us down. And the judgment's not bad, eh? What's bad is the narratives that go along with the judgment. We start as humans, we'll start, we'll decide that someone doesn't like somebody based on a tone of a text. It's like,
a good point.
I don't like you or dislike you. I don't even know you. So how can I be a particular way based on, how do you extrapolate that from just my tone? Right. And so I'm learning. It took me a while. I don't even know if I still have it all. It took me a while to just get to a point where I was just able to just allow an organic development of an interaction with a human being and seeing them for who they are. It's almost impossible to do.
That's true. And I guess to that point, not everybody's willing or yes, willing to do that, because it takes a little bit more effort to want to understand someone rather than form a judgment or a narrative based on like a clip or a moment in time where it's just like this happened, this must be what they were thinking. And then
Mm,
it's like you kind of write it, you one could write out an entire story, an entire history of like this is this person's background based off of this one interaction. But
mm,
it's, to your point, more recently and just over the past few years, I've really tried to get to know myself a bit better. And that's really opening me up to where other people may be coming from, instead of just a lot of times I think people talk about their fathers, or you see dad is like, oh, the bad guy. Like, why is he always stern? And then mom's always nice. But it's like one isn't good and the other isn't bad. Like there's reasons, but like you said, being able to spend time with someone and kind of get to know the person, it kind of helps you separate the emotions, or use your emotions in a different way to say, okay, like what I thought wasn't kind of like the end all be all. It's not always just like you could meet somebody when they're having their worst day, and that just gets, that's just that memory. But like if you're willing to have that time, have the dialogue, and just continue to develop and meet people and kind of give them a chance, it really helps to build a relationship.
mhm, mhm. So very true. Very, very true. So I hope did I answer your question
Yeah,
about me?
you did. You did. It's funny because in knowing you and kind of seeing your background, I know that marriage is a big thing for you. Like, how was it? How was it for you, either before you got married or in the course of, just like we talked about, having to deal with how people perceived you and just becoming a different person over the, like the past few years? Like, what has that process kind of done for you?
Um, well, I'm once again, I'm a lover of people. Um, and it is my heart's desire to not, especially with men, but women as well, to not have people. This is my Shirley is my second marriage. So although my dating experience with my former wife was a normal, good dating experience, which was made us decide to get married.
Right.
And then but the marriage was short, and trying to navigate the space of being married and everything that comes along with that. I mean, I was afraid, deathly afraid of failing at that.
Mm.
And so when I did fail and I had that kind of self-fulfilling prophecy, I experienced that self-fulfilling prophecy, it became almost like a quest of mine. Even though I'm not perfect, my marriage isn't perfect. Um, I don't believe that I know everything about marriage, but it became so important for me to help people figure it out. And I realized that most of the problems that I was having in marriage were coming from me. Um, and if I focused on those things, that my interaction with Shirley would be a more fruitful and productive and amenable interaction,
Right.
because it's not going to be perfect. And so I said, okay, I figured out it's me.
Hmm.
And if I get me together, at least half of the equation will be right,
Right.
right? Or close to right, right?
Hmm.
And so now if she did that on her end, now we got a good looking opportunity to solve the problem of, or not the problem of, but, solve the equation of, marital bliss. Like if she's
Right.
focusing on her and I'm focusing on me. And so so now we are on this quest for marriage enrichment, getting people to get it and understand it, to understand each other,
Mhm.
to understand that it's not always going to be perfect. It's not always going to be absolutely right. But if you give it a chance, if you give each other a chance,
Mhm.
it'll work itself out. So that kind of growth and progression has changed me in that more often than not, especially from the prayer line,
Mhm.
initial interactions, it takes people a while to get to understand Shannon or even want to be able to want to bother with me.
Mhm.
Because initially you either like me or you don't. And then by God's grace, if you get a chance to spend some time with me, or I get a chance to spend some time with you,
Mhm.
I can show that I really have a heart for your heart. I don't have a lot of patience for your bullshit, but I have a lot of heart for your heart.
Right.
And I just much, and you know what, actually, let me tell you a quick thing. You know
Yeah.
what that story, you know where that comes from?
Where?
It comes from it's the trauma response.
Mhm.
It comes from, there were women in my life that I really, really liked, right? I
Mhm.
really liked them. And um, and I let them know that I
Mhm.
liked them. And they would say things like, "Oh, you're like a brother,"
Ooh.
or um, we're friends, we're friends. And in my mind, I'm like, well, don't you want to be in a relationship with your friend? Like
Right. Right.
that's that's who you want to be with. But
Right.
what they were saying was, I'm not that into you, or I'm not into you like that.
Yeah.
But they never said it.
Yeah.
And I would not have I had this naivete, a naive approach to, dating and relationships and stuff like that. And so I
Mhm.
thought, well, eventually they'll come around. I don't think I'm an unattractive guy, and
Mhm.
I'm a good friend. So maybe they'll get around to wanting to be in a relationship with me. And none of those relationships ever worked out. None of those things ever came into fruition.
Mhm.
But I developed this thing, like, I wish they would have just been honest.
Right.
Just tell me you don't like me. I can do something with that.
Right.
Right? I know what, hey, you don't like me. Everybody's not for everybody. I get it. But if you just I can't say that they led me on,
Right.
but they just left it vague and foggy.
Mhm.
And because of that vague and foggy space, I lingered, hoping, with feelings, hoping that there could be a possibility that something could occur, a relationship could develop from this.
Right.
So, like, I remember when I met Shirley. So I was divorced for maybe a year,
Mhm.
and I met Shirley. I said, the next woman that I date, I'm going to be butt naked, absolutely brutally honest. And I remember telling her everything.
Mhm.
I told her, hey, I said, I have bad credit. I'm not good with money. I got a porn addiction. I got, like, everything that there was negative to say.
Mhm.
I was going to let her know, and then I was going to give her an opportunity to choose whether or not to be with me or not.
This is first
And
date.
no, it wasn't the first date. It was just like the first kind of, because we were around each other all the time. So
Gotcha.
a lot. So
Mhm.
we would have, just conversations. We were sitting and eating dinner, or going out for a walk, or just our interactions. I
Gotcha.
would
Gotcha.
just give up information. And if she asked me a direct question, I would answer her, like, directly.
Mhm.
And, some of it backfired, but that's a lot of the directness that you hear from me.
Mhm.
It comes from that. I don't have any toleration for bullshit. Just tell me,
Right.
and I can do something with that. If you don't like me, that I can do something with that.
Yeah.
But if you're vague and you're acting like you like me, but you're not acting like me, but you secretly talking to people and telling them you don't like me and all that, like I
Right.
don't have any patience for that. So that is kind of what helped to make me as direct as I am.
I like,
Is
I really,
the pain of being rejected, bro. Oh my goodness.
yeah. I mean, when you speak about that pain, that's something I I can identify with, and something to that extent. I think it was either last year or the year before that. A friend shared with me this book called No More Mr. Nice Guy, and
Mm,
it was kind of speaking about the same, essentially that. And I think I've learned to appreciate about you, like being honest, because it's like when as a nice person, where if someone isn't clear with you, but you kind of go along with it, you're kind of you can be held accountable in a
mhm,
similar way, even if it's like one of those, if someone strikes you and you retaliate, usually the person that retaliates is the person that gets caught. It's kind of a
mhm,
strange analogy,
mhm,
but like
mhm,
when you were telling me that, I thought about that book because it talks about just this idea of if you do if you do everything right, then your needs will be met. But it's like you may be better off still seeking to do things right, but also communicating what it is that you want. And if
mhm,
someone isn't willing to let you know what they want, then it gives you an indicator, even if they don't say like, I don't want this. If they're not telling you like up front and just frank, it's like they're kind of telling you without telling you. So
mhm,
you're better off going with that rather than just be like, well, maybe if I hang around and
mhm,
just kind of linger and this, it's like, and then when you look back on it and really ask yourself, like, okay, what role did I play in this? Like it unfolds, and it can be one of those things where it's vicious. Of course, there's heartbreak and things like that, but
mhm,
I've learned to, through reading that, to study, to spending time on the line, listening to you, having some conversations with you. It's that getting to the heart of it and knowing that you have a heart for people is, it really helps. Like when you say cutting through, like a lot of
mm,
times somebody can just be like, it could say things that sound nice and fluffy, but like
mhm,
if it doesn't address the concern,
mhm.
it's all BS.
It's
It's
all
just
BS.
it's just all, it's like, yeah, that's nice. Like this person came in, they said this, they said that, but then it's like you kind of sit back and you think, it's like, wait, what did they say? Like what happened? Okay, like what's different now than like a year, like a few years gone by? Like nothing's changing. And then like instead of sitting there blaming yourself for like wanting this person, like you don't have to want harm from someone
Mhm,
in order to get like, in order to just get down to the bare bones. And I guess like you say, sometimes it's like when you go right to it, people are like, whoa, 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 weren't you gonna like soften the blow or tell me? It's like, no, 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 we're we're not here for that. Like if you want that, like you can go talk to this person, you can go talk to that person. Like my older brother's kind of the same way. It's like certain people know that they can't say something to me because he's the same way. He's like, I don't deal with that. But then
mhm.
sometimes I try and tell him, I'm like, you might have to deal with a little bit, but it's like, but then when I think back on it, I'm like, you may have a point, because it's like someone wasn't ready. And then for me, like I might get some of that. I've maybe put up with a lot more than I should. So like somebody might try to manipulate me a little bit easier because they're like, oh, this person's calm, he's nice, harmless. And like learning to shed away that layer is become, it's become eye-opening to where I'm like, I can be nice, I can be kind, but I have to be honest about why I'm doing that. And
Mhm,
I shouldn't hold anyone hostage without telling them like, hey, these are my intentions. And like you said, just
mm,
be butt booty naked and just say like, this is who I am.
mhm,
As you build a relationship, as you build a rapport, but like allows someone to choose what it is that they'll accept or what it is that they'll reject. It doesn't
Mhm.
mean that something's wrong with you or something's wrong with them. It's just everything isn't always meant to just go along to get along, so to speak.
Mhm. And the danger though is framing the danger is framing it as being nice.
Right.
Like you're just being like I don't think that most people, we understand, just being around the prayer line and stuff like that, you understand the disc assessment, you understand either being a D or a gorilla.
Mhm.
And most people that fall within that category, when described as mean,
Mhm.
don't see themselves as mean. I actually get quite offended
Right.
or taken aback. Like, wait a minute, I'm mean. I don't see myself as being mean. I don't feel like I'm being mean. I'm just being right. And what they're doing is they're just being who they are,
Right.
and who they are is direct.
Mhm.
Now that comes off as mean to people who are not wired that way.
Mhm.
But when you can just accept, now when I meet a person who has a direct way of dealing with me,
Mhm.
I usually am able to discern that right away and go ahead and deal with them based on who they are. So I'm direct.
Mhm.
Like I get right to it, even more so than I would normally.
Right.
And the only time it doesn't happen that way is when I'm really in the need of support.
Mhm.
And it might be something that I don't get or I don't understand or something like that.
Right.
And I'm like, like I really need help.
Mhm.
Like I don't need your attitude. I don't need your directness right now.
Mhm.
I need support.
Right.
And and but people that are direct that don't have that supportive quadrant that they can pull on at all, they find it difficult. It's like the only way that I know to support you is to shoot you straight.
Mhm.
Come
Like,
straight at it, tell you exactly what you tell me what you need, I tell you what I can do for you.
right.
That's best. That's all I can do for you.
Is
And
that challenging for you being on the end where you need the support not to be as direct and someone's kind of giving you what they think you need versus what you actually need?
is it challenging? Yeah, it's very challenging because you at the end of the day, you want what you want.
Mhm.
And you get to the point where it's like, listen, can you help me or can you not? Can you
Right.
let's just get right down to it. You can either help me or you can't. If you can't help me, right? Because that's what I need right now, is I need help, I need support.
Right.
And so just being able to get to that place and have the understanding and not take stuff personal,
Mhm.
man, that's just been life-changing for me personally.
Mhm. It's funny because like something that you said earlier and when I think the question I just tried to ask was I was trying to ask it maybe in a different way, but I think you already answered it because it's like the more you learn to introspect and deal with yourself, the better off you are at dealing with people. So even if
Mhm.
it's like you're asking someone for help, you've understood about yourself that you can be direct. So if someone is responding to you directly, you can distinguish that like they're they're not giving you the help that you seek or they're not able to help you in the way that can actually support you in the moment
Mhm.
versus like somebody might want to come at you sternly like because there's a difference between someone coming for your neck so to speak just because they're like
Mhm.
oh Shannon came at me now I'm going to come at him versus
Mhm.
like hey all right, let's see what's going on. Like, talk me through this a little bit. Tell me
Mhm.
about your situation. I want to understand you. And then
Mhm.
giving you like a direct, like, okay, you can do one, two, three. Let's just start there. Okay, we can't. Okay, we're just going to start with one, and we're going to work there. At least that shows that there's a willingness to understand there, because otherwise it's like if you ask someone a question and they keep responding in the same way, and they don't kind of want to budge, and if they're more excited about telling you what they want to tell you rather than making sure you're understanding what they're saying, you having a better understanding of yourself can say, oh, okay, like this person isn't they don't have anything for me, and it's like nothing wrong with them, just I'm asking the wrong person maybe the wrong question, or I'm just this isn't the conversation to be had right now.
And with me, and you've probably experienced this on the line. This is why I ask questions
Right.
a lot, because details are important. And when I'm dealing with people and I'm not getting details, it creates this kind of fog.
Right. Like we talked about before, it's that ambiguity.
Yes, but see, this is okay. So if you look at the DISC assessment, the DDI, the S, and the C, what people don't understand, like people will automatically think that I am a D.
Right.
But my D is not as high as my I and my C. Right. And so, but what people don't understand is that a C or a, what is it in the animal assessment? A C is a
turtle.
A turtle, right? So a C and a turtle can become a D or a gorilla when there's no details, when there's no, like we become way more direct when there's no systems in place.
Right.
Or it seems vague, it's like, it's not making sense.
Right.
And usually when things don't make sense, it's when people leave out details.
Right.
Right. And so understanding that, just me understanding the DISC model of human behavior and having a desire to understand how people think, how they navigate, has really helped me to just grow as a human being. And that's been over the past maybe 2 years, almost 3 years, that I've been able to just, one, understand how other people are wired, but more importantly, be able to accept how they're wired, and then deal with them based on that wiring.
Right.
Not try to get them to fit into my bag or to my realm, or greatest kind of change and shift that has happened for me.
Right. That last part's the hard part, accepting people as they are.
Bro, I'm trying to tell you, that's probably one of when Shirley and I use the DISC assessment, when we get to that section of our coaching program, people are like, oh my God, how they almost feel like how are you in my house? Like, how do you know? Because I kind of, start kind of, I get some information, and I put us all in a party or getting ready for a party. And then I put us in a party or getting ready for a party, and I start describing the ways that a particular person might be, and they're like, oh, that's me, oh my God, that would be me, that would be me. Or they would say, oh, that's you, that you would, oh, that's how you are. Like, it's like this revelation that is happening, or this veil that is being pulled back. And it's like, yo, man, nobody's doing anything to you. No, you're not that deep. You're not that important of a human being. Right? People more than likely are just being who they are. I was listening to, I'm a fan of Kevin Hart's radio show, Straight from the Heart, on Sirius XM radio. And I was listening to them today describe each other, or describe how each other, they interact. And Naeem, Lynn. They were talking about, they were in Vegas. They did a show in Vegas. And then so they were just having fun and enjoying themselves in Vegas.
Yeah.
And I think they were going to a special release part or some sort of party that for Kevin's tequila brand. And and Naeem didn't know where the party was. And he kept asking about the party. And look, he wanted details.
Right.
He wanted a time, he wanted a place, he wanted like attire, he wanted like, okay, what's going on?
Right.
And no one was giving him details. So he was like, I'm not gonna beg anybody for.
Right.
So it comes off as they didn't want him at the party, but they all friends, they boys, they so cool.
Right.
But you have some that are not focused on details at all.
Yeah.
And Kev is one of those people. And so as a result of that, it creates this kind of place that's uncomfortable and questionable with amongst people that obviously love each other, they're close to each other, they work with each other, they tour with each other, but because they're wired differently, there's no way for them to, it leaves opportunity, the ambiguity and the vagueness leaves opportunity for interactions to be misunderstood, and so the same holds true. I mean, so you see it in every area of life that if you don't take the time to just understand who you're dealing with, especially if you're dealing with them on a regular basis, then you set yourself up for relationship failure.
Right. Man.
For your intentions and for your actions to be misconstrued. So it's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to leave it right there for now, and we'll have to continue at a later time.
Well, I'm here, baby.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for this time. We'll do.
Yes, sir.
We'll definitely have to do this again, and then we'll just kind of tie it up where we'll keep it going from here. Oh, did I lose you? I think the audio went out. But yeah, but I'll text you.